Alright you guys, welcome back to another gameplay for you. Today we're going to be looking at Blaine's Last Resort versus Donphan in a round 2 matchup. I don't remember who won this one because I didn't look at it beforehand, so we will be finding out together. So the way this matchup I think is going to work is Blaine's Last Resort should just have like an immense edge here, particularly because it can go into Yanmega over and over again, which has that fighting resistance, and if it uses the right Yanmegas, it's a non-EX against either the Donphan Prime, which is an EX, which is going to really just kind of blow, it's going to trade him favorably, or it's going to go into the spinning turn one, which just isn't doing enough damage. Blaine's also has the sniping Yanmega to snipe around it, so there's a lot of tools at Yanmega's disposal, or Blaine's Resort disposal, that can get around this kind of fighting power and these wall attackers. Not to mention the fact that Donphan might not be the best deck. It did have a very, very, very favorable round 1 matchup, but now it has an extremely unfavorable round 2 matchup. So kind of hard to place Donphan, but we still think it might not be the best deck in the world. Initially, we built it with like a direct counter to Magnezone when we thought Magnezone was hype, but that has since been debunked because Magnezone has options for it, and the fact also that Magnezone just probably not being the best deck in the world right now. Looks like Grady doing some Tindering there. Month and a half ago there, while I took probably a Bath and Breaker or some sort of thing like that. So coming back for the coin flip, we started out, looks like a Slowpoke versus a Strike and Run. So if I have I think this might be the Slowpoke with Amnesia. If it is, then that was really clutch to save the Strike and Run. It means you just can't do it. So I won't get Spiritomb locked. If that might be the case, we'll see. Grady actually might just pass here. If he does, then it is the one with Amnesia, the Slowpoke with Amnesia. And it looks to be that's the case because he's not reaching for his deck or anything. He's still thinking. I don't know. It must be that. So I don't really know what that Slowpoke does initially. But that's totally fine. We'll see what my setup is going to be like. Grady's obviously going to go into Spiritomb, Phanpy, and maybe 2 Phanphys in the Spiritomb. Or no, sorry, Baltoy. He's going to go into a support Pokemon of some sort. Phanpy support Pokemon Spiritomb. Probably a Baltoy. I think that's kind of the option here. Unless his hands is like super nutty. Nope, yeah, Baltoy. And then there's a Spiritomb, so it is going to be retreat for the item lock, and I'm going to follow suit with a Collector, probably for the Yanmega, support Pokemon in Spiritomb. Yep, so it will be a double Spiritomb start, yet again. Looks like I'm just searching out the Claydol to get ready. Will be a straight retreat. Let's see if I have any more energies to attach. Can't play items, can't play supporters, because those are all gone already. And yep, it will just be the Darkness Gray straight into it, no energy attachment. The deck does not play a lot of energy, so I would be surprised if there was a second energy. Ooh, but actually we see a Second Sight Slowking to control his top deck. I think that card's criminally underrated in the U150 format. I think we write it off initially because, oh, there's this Claydol, this card called Claydol, and it can just draw cards anyway, so rearranging your opponent's top deck just doesn't matter. But used in the right situations, I think it's just a really good card. We'll see. I plan on building a couple decks around it. Once I upload all the tournament videos and kind of get those squared away, we'll go back to some deck profiles, and especially since we have 2 new sets to deal with, there will be some new deck concepts to come out, so I guess here's your teaser for that. No Second Sight, no Claydol, because I really just don't need to. Right now I'm just kind of looking for setup. The Aerodactyl on the bench is kind of just swaying me from using those abilities. I don't want to take unnecessary damage when I'm just trying to set up, so probably just going to use the ability again to go into a Yanmega, probably the one from Steam Siege, or rather if I already have the combo in my hand, then we're just going to get it now. So looking through my hand here, it's going to be kind of hard. Computer Search is definitely going to get what I need to get. Like, that's just straight up, I don't need to worry about anything. I'm going to get what I want this turn. That's what Computer Search kind of does for you in the U150 tournament, in the U150 format. If you have it in your hand, your turn is pretty much golden. Due to Claydol's grass weakness, It appears that I will be taking a knockout some way, shape, or form. Unless I prized what I needed to prize. That would be bad. Maybe I did, and maybe that's why I took my prizes there. So let's see. No, it will be the CMC John Mayer coming down. It's, I believe, the Claydol's plus 20 week. Actually, hey, look, I have a Claydol literally right next to me. Yeah, it is plus 20 week. So I'm going to need a damage modifier of some sort, or the break. Just because the attack does a 50 base, so it's only going to be doing 70, and that's just something that I just can't afford to do. So, choice band comes down. That's an interesting decision there. Ooh, yep, see, there's me finding out, oh, it's not double weak. And there's me just, like, rethinking my entire life's plan. So here's me saying, look, I'm actually going to grab the break, if you don't mind. Because, looks like I want to take a knockout. Yeah, so there's that. So I do make my, I do make a conscious decision to change that. Greedy, gracious enough to let me take that back in the interest of trying to reduce the amount of misplays, just to kind of get the whole point of this tournament is to determine what deck, quote unquote, is the best in the U150 tournament, or at least gain a lot of knowledge about the U150 format, so that we know so we can kind of start shaping a metagame. Because that's one of the big problems with the new format, is that there's just so much stuff. Obviously, we have 64 decks here. There are just so many things that a metagame is not defined until someone defines it. So I think that's kind of the goal here. So in the interest of trying to figure out what deck is the best, Grady lets me go take that back. So instead of grabbing the CMC John Mega, I grab the Young Mega that can actually take a knockout here. So Grady does promote the Dunsparce because it does have an energy on it, so he can retreat. If he needs to retreat and attack me, he can do that option. If he needs to retreat and Darkness Grace, he has that option. So, but he will take a retreat and a knockout here. So 40 damage to me and 10 to all of his benched. We now have the classic Young Mega Donphan matchup that was so prevalent back in the Heart Gold Soul Silver era. But I do have that choice band still in my hand from when I took it back against the Claydol there. Good. I don't see how many cards are in Grady's hand, but that's just really what I'm going to be looking at doing here. If I can get the Mega Prime out, that does 100 true damage, right? It's like 100 true damage plus, goes through all the effects. So if it does go through that exoskeleton, that it will be a knockout here. I'll just take a commanding lead. And I think that might be what I'm going for with the Dowsing Machine, grabbing I think the Lux Ball was in there. At least it was some way to knock out. Nope, looks like I'm hovering Desert Shaman maybe? Nope, grabbing 2 cards here, so it actually might be that I was able to Dowsing Machine or Computer Search for like an Oracle of some sort. Nope, so it will be a Lapras, so a Lux Ball for Lapras. And then a Baby Search as the second supporter. And then a Desert Shaman. So the way that worked is that I'm Laprasing for the Baby Search to grab the Pokemon that I needed, and then Desert Shamaning somehow or whatever. So, but I am matching cards with the Desert Shaman. It's just a judge. So 4 in both hands. So it will be just a straight 100 damage, taking 2 prizes and a commanding lead. This Young Mega with 140 HP, I believe it is, and resistance to fighting. Against the 5 prizes of me. So if Grady can get like a DCE and let's see, he's got a DCE and a muscle band, that's actually a knockout, because he can outrage for 20 plus 10 versus 30. Muscle band puts it to 50, and I believe I am times 2 weak to lightning. So yep, that will be the revenge KO here, plus because of the 10 damage from the Donphan. So Grady will take another 2 prizes back up to even the game out, and looks like I don't have a lot on the field, so the Spiritomb gets pushed up. Item locking myself, but it's really the only thing with free retreat, so it looked like I might be actually trying to dig here. The Skyfield is interesting, because it kind of signals that I'm not trying to go for a knockout here, and I'm fine with doing a Spiritomb play. Teammates, looks like Young Mega and Slowpoke. So the Spiritomb will be probably played, just because he can knock me out anyways. An attachment to the Slowpoke, not going to do much. Yep, and there's the Young Mega. So here's me hoping he doesn't have a Lysander of sorts. Actually, Lysander does knock me out because that's only 50 doubled. So there's a Hex, which will screw up my next turn considerably, just because I can't go into the Omega. So I guess the option then becomes, can I get a slow king out and no cards in my hand, plus a damage modifier. That's just really what it's going to come down to. Ooh, a gust of wind, that is scary. It looks like I already have 20 damage on there from the Aerodactyl, so the 50 damage from the Zekrom is actually going to knock it out. Oh, nope, Grady taking back the gust of wind, actually. He's going to say, you know what, I hexed, that's enough. Oh, he might Field Blower first. That's what it's looking like he's going to do. He's going to Field Blower first. That's going to remove my Unknown and my Lapras, most likely. And then he'll take, ooh, actually the Slow King, because the Slow King is kind of useless with the Aerodactyl out, so that makes kind of sense there. And then he will take the Gust of Wind on the Porygon. So I was doing that afterwards to kind of disrupt my board state a little bit, put me down to 4 Pokemon. So, anyways, Hex comes out, like I said, I need a damage modifier, and that Slow King. Can I get it? Ultra Ball is going to be a pretty good way. The energy removal does stall it a little bit, so that actually might be what I'm looking for. Just go back into the, yeah, that hand is, ooh, I do have an item finder. That's a pretty big catalyst, but it looks like I'm just going to wait for next turn. I don't have what I need. So I say, hey, look, Gritty, like, can you get a DCE back? Like, I energy removal your DCE, can you get it back somehow? Because if not, I'm going to come up and just either, I'm going to come up and hit you with the Yanmega, and it looks to be from Grady a pass. No support Pokemon on the field, so it will just be a pass. So now I have to try to figure out how to get down to 4 cards so I can come up and one-shot him with the Yanmega, since it does 50 plus 70 if he has got a tool. Rosie's research, and that's going to be maybe a fail? That's kind of crazy. The cool part about this Blaine Sword deck is that it seems like you can never miss an attack, you know what I mean? So it's going to be an item finder for the Dowsing Machine, and then a Rescue Stretcher, most likely to oh, there's Porygon 2, and yeah, so it will be an item finder for a or an item finder for a Dowsing Machine, just to get it all set up for next turn. We'll take a knockout, go down to 3 prizes left. One of the big drawbacks of the Donphan deck is that it has, most of its main attackers are EX based. But yeah, the Aerodactyl on Greatest Set of Fields actually put in a fair amount of work, because it's meaning that I can't use these Pokemon powers, right? So it is doing some extra damage. It is kind of limiting me. I have the answers to get down to the appropriate cards I need in my hand every turn. I am getting down to those 4 card hands, those Desert Shaman hands, that sort of thing. So I still have the ways to get that sort of thing back. So not being able to use Claydol isn't that hard of a thing, just because I already had the stuff in my hand. But regardless, it is a fairly bad matchup, just because I'm resistant to fighting. And because what does Grady do here, right? The Prime's already gone, the Zekrom's already gone, the DC is already gone. If he goes into this Donphan, it's just going to do minimal amount of damage. So looks like Grady does have a Teammates that he is sitting on. Teammates Oak and a Goop. That's actually a very good 3-card hand. I think Grady was debating not playing the Skyfield, because if he gets broken time space, you could get like Baltoy or Porygon 2 back out. So this Teammates might just be something maybe to get out of the active position and a support basic, and then just going Goop Oak. That might be what he decides to go here. So yeah, they're going to go with Floatstone with the Teammates, and like I said, maybe like a Baltoy, so that he can go into the Spiritomb and Evolve and just say, hey, look, take this knockout. I'm going to Goop you. It's going to be very hard for you to get this revenge. Because that might be what Grady's looking at doing there. But remember, I do have that Dowsing Machine in my hand, because the Dowsing Machine from Computer starts to reduce my hand to 0. So if I can get something good off of that, I'll be able to take a knockout anywhere on his bench. That's my line of play. So Grady goes Versus Seeker for Trump card. It goes ahead and uses that with the download. There's the Floatstone, there's the Goop, and there's the Oak. So instead of the support Pokemon Basic, he opted for the Trump card. He's used both of the supporters already, and he Gooped, so the Swoop Teleporter is a big draw for him here, because I will be able to grab, most likely support Basic, and if he can get a way to evolve it, then he's got an even better time of it. We'll see what the remaining Grady's turn is, but I agree with that line of play. The Trump card being the second support to get back those resources he needs, like the Double Colorless, like the Zekrom, those very important cards. Which Donphan does he go into? He's got both of them. So does he put the EX up and nope, he goes into the non-EX and saying, hey, look, like I had the opportunity to go into this EX. But but he will take the, yep, so he will go into the Spirit Tomb anyway. So he did goop. So now this Dow's Machine is like way less useful because I can't grab that computer search. But I need a way to lower my hand down to 4 to get a knockout here, or to 0. But it will be a Hex, and actually I'm using Slowking's first attack, which is search your deck for any one card and put it into your hand. The Hex will slow down Grady, and it looks like I grabbed a computer search with that. So next turn I kind of have free reign of whatever I want to grab. I don't think I would have done this play if Grady had had 2 energies on that Donphan, because then he could have one-shot me. But because I have the Hex and options for next turn, I'm totally fine with just searching for that computer search, setting up for the second turn, just because I'm kind of already ahead and I can afford to. Just because I know that Donphan can't one-shot me, right? Donphan's deck is just not really geared out for that. It's really hiding behind walls. That's like the whole point of the deck. Me just subtly getting that 40 damage ready, saying, look, dude, you're not going to Darkness Grace again. All of your board's set up. This is all you're going to do to me. It would be interesting. Yep, he goes back into the Robo-Sub. So 40 damage into the Robo-Sub, but remember, I have that computer search. So I will be able to target something down and one-shot it, hopefully. Considering I have computer search and Dowsing Machine in my hand still. That's going to be, getting rid of like 7 or 8 cards. I can computer search and then Dowsing Machine for the computer search to play the computer search. Yeah, it's kind of bananas that now I have this big Erica hand here, so there is a very, very good chance that I get back down to 0 cards, plus like a Lysander, and just use, yep, so there's actually the Lysander straight off. Me calculating some stuff out, there's the computer search cards, there's the Dowsing Machine cards, just kind of trying to figure out, hey look, can I get down to 0 cards here? Looks like I need an Unknown so I can get the down to 0, and then Retriever. So it will be a switch coming down, just trying to bench some cards out. Here's where Blaine's Sort really takes flight. Considering that I have this computer search, presumably for a Muscle Band, and then the Dowsing Machine to grab something else. Yep, just really grabbing some stuff here. And it looks like actually, oh, no, we're going to the bench, okay. Because I could have gone to the active and then break evolved it. That's the other option I could have gone with. But instead I go Dowsing Machine for computer search to grab another card, maybe just to play. I think this might get me down to 0. Looks like a Fluffy Berry is the option, and that Fluffy Berry plus the Oranguru, that's even better now. So 0 cards in hand, taking a knockout on his only attacker, and setting me up where I have this Oranguru and Claydol on the bench ready to draw cards, and then the Yanmega for backup. So the only thing that could really hurt me here is if Grady goes knockout Hex, because the thing about Slowking is that's in the deck to prevent against Hex. Grady says keep the Mallow over there. Keep the Mallow and the D-Valley over there. Interesting. Instead of switching some stuff out. I mean, granted, like the only thing that you could really put into my prizes here is probably like the Yanmega Break. I think that would be like the worst thing you could put over there. Trying to think of what else he would really want over there. Maybe like a trump card of some sort. But outside of that, like, I think he probably could have switched. Here is a Iris plus the Uxie. So it will be getting a knockout, actually, because I'm psychic weak. I just have to avoid the Hex. Because if he gets Hex here, yikes. Then that really puts me in a tough position. Just because I couldn't attack with Yanmega in that scenario. I wouldn't be able to draw cards the turn after I go down to 0. So really gotta avoid that Hex. Let's see. Nope, there's the Hex. So it looks like he did play the Hex, and that's terrifying. So we're gonna bring the Yanmega up. Actually making this a little bit of a game. And now me realizing that if I had actually gone for the break in the Muscle Band, he wouldn't have been able to take a knockout. So the Slowking play, while awesome, definitely kind of hurts me here. But yep, it will just be a retreat and Darkness Grace. Kind of letting the game slowly slip out of my hand, but I still have this Yanmega to go into. Kind of daring Grady, saying, hey look dude, like, you still don't have an attacker on the field, and you still need to Hex me every single turn, or this Yanmega is just going to show you the business. You know what I mean? Kind of letting him take a knockout. Like, I'll let you take the Spirit Tomb because I'm just going to come up and bop you again. And if you don't, I'm just going to find a way to retreat. You know? So, definitely have some cool options here. Grady thinking about his play here. We really don't know what he's trying to go for. If he can get some sort of knockout with like, if the focus sash on his side of the field, if that would have been attached to like something like a Phanpy, honestly, you could come up and do 10 with the focus sash, and then require me to get some sort of windstorm to knock him out, which might screw up with my hand size math, but a lot of different factors at play here. He does have a twins, and that's going to start a turn off. So he's going right back for that Uxian energy. Just saying, hey, look, I'm going to take a cheap knockout here. I can go into this mysterious fossil on the bench and force you to have like a Lysander or a escape rope of some sort, right? Really kind of force him around some crazy plays. We'll see what he grabs off this Cold. There's a lot of cards here. He's got a lot of options at his disposal as well. So it's not like it's just going to be just like a straight thing. So it actually goes into the Spirit Tomb for the item lock, saying, look, I don't think you can get down to 4 in your hand with item lock out. But there's a Judge, so it's going to be an attachment, and it looks like I'm going to actually just do the same play he did. Looks like I'm just going to Psychic Restore for knockout, just kind of copying his move here. Judge, so I do have the option of attacking with the Omega if I want, or I can just use the Uxie, yep, so it will be the Uxie, no, that's what I was looking for, because Grady did Hex, so I did need to do that anyways, like that, the Uxie was the only play, so never mind. Uxie was literally the only play I could make, because he had Hexed me, but I will be able to Psychic Restore into, this Omega, saying, look dude, you still don't have an attacker, it's going to be very, very hard for you to knock this guy out. And if you can't, I'm just going to win, because the Omega is doing 100 damage, knocking out pretty much anything on your side of the field. Even if you leave this mysterious fossil up, it's just not good news for you. So, but Grady does have like he has an Ultra Ball and a DCE, so he could grab the other Aerodactyl here and actually get a knockout, which would put me in a very precarious situation. I think that's one of the things that Grady's going to have to go for, plus maybe even a Hex on top of it, right? If Grady can find a way to get the Aerodactyl Muscle Band versus Seeker for Hex, it puts me in a very scary position. And I think that's what he's going to try to go for here. There's the Ultra Ball down. That's going to grab the... that's kind of crazy that the Junkrum's coming down, but it is going to grab the Aerodactyl. Where is it? There it is. And then he's going to go DCE Muscle Band here for the knockout, and then the Versus Seeker for the Hex to finish it off. And it is getting real sticky now. So, can I get down to a Revenge KO of some sort? I need the Slowking back out and no cards in hand, plus a Lysander. The Teammates might be the option for that, because the other thing I could go is like an Escape Rope Windstorm play onto the Focus Sash. But yeah, it looks like that's what I'm thinking about here. I'm finding a way, maybe Teammates, because the Teammates could grab like double Retriever. I think that might be what I'm going for. So Versus Seeker for Teammates. I think I'm going to be able to win this turn, actually, surprisingly. Just because I'll be able to retrieve the Slowking back, get sort of Item Finder Junk Arm combination to get that Muscle Band out and get a knockout right on back. Kind of a big play that it's just sparked by just one Teammates. So there's a Gust of Wind down there. I don't need the Muscle Band, but there's a Junk Arm for the Computer Search. So Computer Search gets rid of all this stuff. I think the Computer Search might grab the Pokemon Retriever. Let's see, what am I thinking of? Yep, so the Item Finder actually for the Retriever, for the Slowking, and then bench the Unknown, no cards in hand for knockout for game. So yeah, kind of crazy that a Teammates does spark that hand, but because there are so many cards in the deck that discard 2, and there's so many cards in the U150 that discard 2, getting down to 0 cards isn't the hardest thing in the world for this deck. So yep, that's the end of that deck. Blaine's Astrosaur moves on to round 3, and Donphan is out. So yeah, thanks for watching.